So the question on everyone's mind, where is the bottom? Did we already hit it, or has the worst yet to come? One thing we can count on is Bitcoin leading the way, one direction or another. Ultimately, we're all going to be searching for the bottom here in 2022, whether we already hit it, or if you're anticipating a final capitulation later in 2022. Hopefully, not into 2023. The reason why there's so much uncertainty in the space is because Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market has never dealt with a potential recession. Bitcoin was birthed out of the financial crisis of the housing market crash back in 2008, as Bitcoin was created in 2009. Now, Bitcoin has only known a market where numbers go up, as the money printers just go brr and print year after year. Now, Bitcoin might have had a lot of peaks and valleys along the way, but we don't know how Bitcoin will react to this type of market, where macroeconomics are so uncertain. Now, ultimately, the best way you can navigate this space, if you watch this channel, you understand. Dollar cost average your way into assets you have conviction for. And hopefully, Bitcoin is one of them. Now, within this video, what you can expect is a discussion around Bitcoin's price, its continuation, its fall into Goblin Town that's currently happening before our eyes. What does that mean, both in the short term, but more importantly, the long-term effects for Bitcoin? Bitcoin has new competitors as well in the space. It has outpaced its old decentralization competitors in the blockchain, such as Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ripple. Even though we all know that shit's centralized, I should say. But a new central entity is the central bank digital currencies. I always want to say central backed, but central bank digital currencies out there in the space is the new competitor to Bitcoin to become potentially the next reserve currency. Whether it's truly a bank-backed currency or a nation state that builds their own blockchain, such as the Russian government currently trying to build a blockchain to replace SWIFT. We'll go into that further later in this video. Also talking about Bitcoin obituaries. How many times has Bitcoin died since the inception of Bitcoin in 2009? Countless times. Okay? And Bitcoin is still alive and thriving. Where Bitcoin's price today might seem like a downer, but not too long ago, 20,000 was FOMO. Also within this video, we're going to be going over China bans. Did China ban Bitcoin again recently? Not so fast, but one of their largest companies within China did ban Bitcoin, and talk about all cryptocurrencies in general. We'll be touching base on that, as well as talking about a potential Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF maybe. Also ending this video on regards to charts and graphs around Bitcoin, where we can go, tracking the price, understanding the Bitcoin market, because the more you understand about Bitcoin, the better you can position yourself for other cryptos. If you don't understand Bitcoin, you're going to be left in the dark at the end of the day. So we end this video off talking about the charts and graphs surrounding Bitcoin, and then following it up with a DCA, dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, so you can see with your own two eyes the benefits of just doing what I preach at the end of the day. So let's go ahead, everyone, jump right into talking about those central backed digital currencies. Let's head into it. What is a central bank digital currency? Well, according to the Fed, a CBDC is a digital form of central bank money that is widely available to the general public. Central bank money refers to money that is a liability of the central bank. In the United States, there are currently two types of central bank money: physical currency issued by the Federal Reserve, and a digital balance held by commercial banks at the Federal Reserve. While Americans have long held money predominantly in digital form, for example, in bank accounts, payment apps, or through online transactions, a CBDC would differ from existing digital money available to the general public, because a CBDC would be a liability of the Federal Reserve, not of a commercial bank. This is wildly dangerous, potentially giving too much power to the Fed if they don't already have too much power. ultimately having the ability to lock funds for anyone within the network. If you don't think this is possible, you don't have to look any further than one of the top stablecoins in the market today. Tweeted out by Sassal.eth, a lot of people are learning about USDC blacklist function today. To clear things up, Circle, the issuer of USDC, can freeze USDC in any address at any time for whatever reason. This is a risk of using centralized stablecoins, just like using any centralized service. And we've seen what has been happening in centralized services already around the market, such as Terra Luna, Celsius, and many others as this domino continues to fall. Jeremy Allaire basically said, not accurate, not helpful, FUD, read more. Developer Q&A based off of from Circle, USD coin itself. Now, what's funny about this is in there, it basically says they would do this blacklist or ability to lock funds for a certain address if law enforcement requests it. But ultimately, it doesn't say anything about not having the ability to also blacklist anyone and everyone that has an address wallet through Circle or holds the USDC coin in their wallet. Mind-blowing. Now, to further kind of muddy the waters, Russia is to replace the SWIFT system with its own blockchain platform. If you didn't know, when Russia invaded Ukraine, they were basically blackballed or blacklisted from using the SWIFT network that all banks use in the current world we live in today. Now, they're going to try to create their own blockchain platform that allows individuals to use their own nation state currency to pay for energy services or oil that Russia provides. And this could be really muddy in the water around a whole thing of macroeconomics and craziness that we're seeing around the world today. So ultimately, this is your new competitor to Bitcoin when it comes to a reserve currency. We're watching a fight happen before our eyes, and you know what side I'm on. I'm here to see Bitcoin become the winner that we all know it to be as it fights against central bank digital currencies and other blockchains that nation states will adopt along the way. So, is Bitcoin dead? No. Let's go and dive deeper into why Bitcoin is still alive and thriving. So Bitcoin continues to fight the good fight, resurrecting itself from the dead, as already recorded 15 deaths this year. Bitcoin is dead is trending on Google, skyrocketing searches. Haven't seen this type of Google trend since 2018, the last Bitcoin crash. Checking out the Bitcoin Obituaries, Bitcoin has died 455 times. What qualifies as an obituary? As the prime source for Bitcoin obituaries, we use the following guidelines in order to qualify an obituary. The content itself, not just the headline, must be explicit about the fact that Bitcoin is or will be worthless. No maybe or could, meaning it's going to zero, it's worthless. The content was produced by a person with a notable following or a site with substantial traffic. They only accept English at this time as well, meaning there's obviously more articles and more content out there pushing Bitcoin is dead and gone. This has been happening since 2009. It's the most resilient form of money that this world has ever seen. As you can see in the chart and graph below, also, this is a price indicator on all these different articles when they typically come out. Someone did produce something at the very peak of Bitcoin, the all-time high, but the majority of these articles just come out when Bitcoin's crashing in the price, taking advantage of Bitcoin's volatility along the way. Now, checking out also on China, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency bans. This gives you a kind of a roundabout way on indicating when the tops were for Bitcoin. Surprisingly, back in September 2023, China bans Bitcoin. Also, China banned Bitcoin in 2017 at the beginning of 2018, which was the beginning of the bear market for that last cycle. For this current cycle, China banned Bitcoin and cryptocurrency twice, both in June, which was right, a month after that first peak, because we have a double peak in this current market, and also September, a couple months before the last peak, as it declares all cryptocurrency transactions illegal. Won't be the last time China continues to ban cryptocurrency. What is interesting, though, is that WeChat outlaws all crypto activities. Offenders risk permanent ban. This is a huge part of China. China not outrightly banning crypto, because it already has numerous times, even though they mine plenty of Bitcoin still. But also what is interesting is that it's just talks about it, from my understanding, or utilizing NFTs as well on their WeChat platform. So we'll kind of keep an eye on this as well. But the last thing that we're going to be touching base before we go over to charts and graphs is an ETF that bets against Bitcoin to launch. No, not an EFT spot, which we so desperately need, which basically indicates the price, or you can get into an ETF that is side-by-side comparison with the current price of Bitcoin, but instead you're actually able to get a short ETF betting against Bitcoin that it will ultimately fail. I believe that this will help the Bitcoin market, because ultimately what's going to happen is people are going to start to short Bitcoin. In order to liquidate those individuals, the price of Bitcoin goes up. They can manipulate the market more and more and really affect those who try to short Bitcoin, especially in a market that everyone feels that there's a huge capitulation down the line still for Bitcoin. Surprise, surprise. Nope, it doesn't happen. And the price goes to new all-time highs. Individuals get liquidated and ultimately see their portfolios just get shit on. We saw this happen when Bitcoin was introduced on futures, and the Bitcoin price crashed hard after that back in 2018. It's just a prediction. We'll see what this trends to, but let's go ahead, check out the charts and graphs, further indicating where Bitcoin will go. So we check on the rainbow chart once in a while, probably every other week, even though we touched base on it last week's video regarding Bitcoin's price, and the rainbow chart is currently holding up. Do we know where it ultimately will drop to? No. Like I've mentioned plenty of times before, we don't understand what this market has in store for us. But right now, the only time that this market has actually fell below this rainbow chart was on a wild COVID capitulation. Now, this market could also bring a wild capitulation because we're in the middle of a macroeconomic storm that this world has never seen before. But what I do want to indicate that is, if it does hold up, anticipate even after a large drawdown within the price, we just move sideways a lot of times, even after we finally capitulate. Back in 2018, we moved sideways for almost 4 months along this basically a fire sale indicator. So you could see this, and we're just gonna be all here on the edge of our seats waiting for a capitulation that never comes. We might even get a bounce back very similar to what we had back in 2018 and then fell again. And then everyone freaks out and think we're gonna go further. Or, yeah, we might move sideways for 4 months and then we capitulate even harder, very similar to what we did up here. But this is basically some of the cheapest Bitcoin you can buy out there today. Why not continue to at least DCA into Bitcoin, allowing you to garner more wealth for your future? There. Now, the crypto market continues to search for a bottom, going under $1 trillion market cap for the first time since January 2021. What price range does Bitcoin bottom out? Well, BTC gives a clear indication when the bottom is in for the crypto market. So understanding where Bitcoin bottomed out at, it's going to probably bottom out the rest of the crypto market, and then BTC just wrecks shop against the rest of the market. Usually how it happens. We'll see if that continues. But funny is because majority of the people voted for a $15,000 to $20,000 range, which we did hit right under 19,000. So currently we do fall into that range, which 43.8% of the participants currently voted in a correct manner. But doesn't mean that we can't drop into that next range of 10,000 to 1499 or 999. We'll continue to monitor, but someone that gives a more or has a larger base. My poll only got 16 votes. Well, Benjamin Cohen over here has 11,500 votes. Has Bitcoin bottomed? Majority of everyone doesn't believe it has. This is a clear indication that, hey, maybe the bottom is end. Because not only are everyone pricing in Bitcoin's bottom is even coming further, maybe we've already seen it. Or maybe we haven't. who really knows? It's all a fun game. I'm trying to figure out where is the bottom, right? Now, here's a quick indication on Bitcoin's chart around the board. As you know, we're well below that Bitcoin bear market resistance band. That's sitting up around 34,000 as Bitcoin's price is hovering just north of 20,000. We're so far behind. Now, what these are is a 100-week moving average, 200, 300, and 400. We have the 400 up, even though we've never hit it, but you never say never. Even in economic conditions like this, that's why we have it up. Now, usually the 100-week moving average, once that breaks, it's a free fall all the way down to the 200. You've seen this in previous cycles before. Drop below that 100, free fall to the 200, and use that as resistance before moving up higher. Use it at the 100 as resistance, free fall, boom. And even they had a free fall at the 200 and even went to the 300-week moving average. Just went through the 1, through the 2, all the way down and wicked down close to that 300-week moving average. This was the COVID-19 scare of March of 2020. Now, we're here in a scare of macroeconomic conditions, almost wicking down to the 300 once again. Do we settle here? Do we go back up? Or do we test that 400-week moving average? Never have we done it before. We'll kind of continue to monitor, right? Now, checking in on our weekly DCA, what I do want to show you, back in 2017, Bitcoin's price currently at around $20,000 or $20,421.49. If you dollar cost average just $100 a month for 5 years, 2017 all the way to 2021, and you stop DCA or DCA in to your Bitcoin position, you would still, and you would only invested $6,000 into Bitcoin at that time, your value would be almost a 400% return, or a 4x from your initial investment of $6,000, because the value would be $23,000 off that $6,000. And the current, and that's even at the current price of this huge, massive drop that Bitcoin's seeing today. So that's why DCA is so important for your portfolio, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. So we bought up another $100 worth of Bitcoin, almost getting ourselves a 500,000 Satoshis. Always a reminder, Satoshis is the smallest unit of Bitcoin. Getting ourselves another position even further into Bitcoin. Yes, huge profit loss, but we don't care. We will continue eating up Bitcoin at these prices because we know where this will go for us, okay? And I want to end this video off a little bit of a idea of where Bitcoin has been, where we're at right now, and every single time this has happened, Bitcoin has went on to set new all-time highs. In 2011, Bitcoin fell 93.7% from its all-time high at that moment. In 2014, Bitcoin fell 86.5%. 2018, 84.2%. And then every single time went on to a new all-time high. Now Bitcoin's new all-time high, it's down 74.7% currently. Can we go lower? Yeah, damn right. If we go to like 81%, for instance, then that's going to put us around a 13,000 Bitcoin. But ultimately, a new all-time high will be met in 2024, 2025, somewhere in that mode, most likely at the end of 2024, if we're just throwing fun predictions out there. Everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this content today. I know it was pretty long, but until next time, peace, y'all. Oh yeah, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, everyone,